You're listening to Goodland's Rocket 102.5, KKCI FM, Goodland, Colby, an NWKS radio station.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The Pakistani military says India fired attack drones into Pakistan, wounding 4 soldiers. India, meanwhile, accusing its neighbor of attempting its own attack. Tensions are soaring at the moment between those two countries, and they are both nuclear armed. That's raising concerns around the world, including here in Washington. President Trump this morning confirmed a new full and comprehensive trade deal with the United Kingdom. The U.S. and Britain were expected to announce that trade deal that will lower the burden of the tariff battles going on right now. President Trump has repeatedly said that foreign countries, even good U.S. trade allies, are taking advantage of U.S. policies. Bill Gates says he'll donate 99% of his remaining tech fortune to the Gates Foundation. That would be worth an estimated $107 billion. More on these stories at srnnews.com.
Hey, I'm Brant, and her name is Sherry.
Hello.
She's a friend of mine whom we were just praying for because of a surgery she just went through.
Yes, and I am very happy about something you actually talk about all the time, which is
MediShare.
That is right.
Yeah. So what was your experience like with MediShare and the healthcare bills?
Honestly, Brant, seamless. And what a blessing that is when you're already nervous about a health issue, which I was.
Yeah.
Members shared my expenses. There were 0 problems. And let me tell you, having people pray with you when you call in with your need, that is just...
It is refreshing.
Yes, that's what it is.
But I keep telling people love MediShare, and they love saving tons of money, too. The typical family can save $500 a month.
I am very thankful for MediShare. It is so different, and I mean different in a very, very good way.
It is good different. Call now. They're easy to talk to, and you can get a price within 2 minutes. Call 844-45-BIBLE. That's 844-45-BIBLE, 844-45-BIBLE.
Rocket 102.5.
A lot of the tri-state area missed the good rains unless you were located along and south of Highway 40. And today and tomorrow, as that cutoff low moves off to the east, but flow will lead to drier and warmer conditions. Today's high will be around 70 due to more clouds, and tomorrow's in the upper 70s with full sunshine. Winds will be light at 5 to 15 miles per hour, starting from the north this morning and turning to the southeast this afternoon. And tomorrow, more of a southwesterly south direction at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Overnight lows tonight and tomorrow will be in the upper 40s, and over the weekend and early next week, Monday and Tuesday, high pressure ridge moves over the central U.S., resulting in sunny and dry conditions with abnormal temperatures in the 80s during the days and overnight in the lower 50s. Also with the lee side troughs, we will see wind gusts to 20 to 40 miles per hour Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and likely elevating fire weather conditions. This is meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Wake up, sports fans. It's time to kickstart your day with the Morning Blitz and me, Ross Volkmer. Get the latest updates, in-depth analysis, and a few hot takes on everything from the preps to the pros. Whether you're driving to work or just getting your day started, I've got you covered with all the local sports talk you crave. So don't miss out. Tune in every weekday morning starting at 7 Mountain, 8 Central Time on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 to the Morning Blitz and join the conversation. Miss the show? No problem. Download and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Big savings are waiting at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get a 25 Chevy Silverado 1500 with 0.9% APR for 60 months plus $3,500 trade-in cash. Or choose a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max, 0.9% APR or up to over $7,800 off if you own a GMC or Buick. And don't forget, military members get an extra $750 cash allowance. It's happening now at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-0000. 5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with Ultimate Fertilizer and gear up with Eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
Walt and Linda Linthicum at L&W Insurance remind you a day without insurance coverage is like a day without sunshine. L&W covers you for the unexpected every day, every hour. Come in soon for an insurance policy review. You know, many changes are made from year to year, and now's the time to get that policy review taken care of. Take the trouble out of driving with quality insurance coverage from L&W Insurance, Goodland, and St. Francis.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm, with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
The region's only local sports talk.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guy is everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
Showtime for the Lady Eagles.
To the pros.
McKinnon is in at running back. First down and goal to go. Play action fake. Right side throw. Touchdown! Kansas City!
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and FNB Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Quite a different story from game one. That's not working either. Jokic tried to hit Westbrook. Upstairs, slapped down. Jalen Williams climbs the imaginary ladder.
Duchesne, nice job. Sent it across. Ranton in front. Score! Ranton in again. It's a hat trick in Winnipeg.
It's Tatolia is hit deep to right. Got a chance to go if it's fair, and it is a fair ball. It's a home run. That's a two-run shot again for the Rockies. McMahon had one first inning. Michael Tolia, a towering shot to right for his two-run home run. Rockies break the tie, take the lead 5-3.
Right wing three, crossover, foul line with 4. Left block, step back, stolen by Bridges. Bridges chucks it down court. They've done it again. They've done it again. The New York Knicks take both in Boston, and a 2-0 lead heading back to the Mecca.
And good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome inside the Morning Blitz. Glad you could join us on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 or NWKSradio.net. Maybe, of course, you're watching through the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on X, YouTube, and Facebook. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Thursday. It's May the 8th. It's a beautiful start to the day. Nice, cool, but clear morning. Going to have some temperatures are going to be getting close to 70 today, but I think we're going to see some sunshine after, I don't know. I mean, it depends on where you were. There wasn't anywhere near the moisture that the Weather Service and other people thought that we might possibly get. Did get a little sprinkle, at least here in Goodland yesterday afternoon for maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, a little light rainfall there. But from this day forward, looking like we got plenty of sunshine and maybe in a few windy days mixed in there as well. But today, sunny, 69. Should be a beautiful day out here on the high plains. Once again, glad you're with us here on the Morning Blitz. If you want to be part of the show, would love to hear from you through the FNB Bank text line at 785-899-2222. That's somebody part of the Morning Blitz. Of course, you can also hit us up on X, Facebook, or YouTube with our comment section. We can see those as well in the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. So once again, hit us up there. Today, we will be talking little high school baseball with Colby High School head baseball coach Todd Kane. He'll be joining us on the program today. visiting about his Eagle squad that is a very impressive 15-5 as they get closer and closer to the postseason. They have themselves a series coming up here this week, I think against Sublette, I think is who they have. And they will have that coming up, and then the postseason will begin. And been a really good season so far for Colby Eagle baseball. And we'll visit with head coach Todd Kane about that here in a little bit. We've got some college football news coming up in segment 3, some to do with Kansas State, some to do with just the overall landscape of college athletics. A question talking about basketball, to say at least basketball, an interesting thing in basketball yesterday. So I would say we'll get to that. A question about the NCAA basketball tournament is the best way I would put it. So Michael will be joining us talking about that coming up here in just a little bit about, he will not be joining us, but I'll be reading his question that he presented to me. We'll be breaking that down, talking about so that's the question. We'll get to that coming up in just a matter of moments. All right. Real quick, before we get into that, though, a couple of real things to get from last night in sports. First and foremost, Colby Community College baseball. Congratulations to the Trojans. They pick up a convincing Game 1 win over Fort Scott yesterday in the first round of the Region 6 baseball tournament. There at Young Memorial Field in Colby, they beat the visiting Greyhounds 14-3. It only took 7 innings to get that done, so they're in a really good position. At home, up 1-0, and need just one more win out of possibly 2 games left to advance to the West Central District Championship in Salina next week. Game 2 of that best-of-3 series is this afternoon. That'll be at 3 o'clock Central Time at Young Memorial Field. Yesterday it was scheduled for 3. It got moved back to 5 because of the wet conditions that were early on in the day, but they got in. They took care of their business. And so now the Trojans will see if they can advance with a win today. If not, they'll have Game 3 on Friday over there in Colby at Young Memorial Field. So congratulations to the Colby Community College Trojans. They pick up a win, but still one more to go to advance to the West Central District Championship. Also, how about last night in the NBA? Boy, a couple of very separate type games. I know listener Michael is a huge fan of a humongous fan, I should say, of the Boston Celtics. And boy, I'm telling you what, the Boston Celtics are in a very, very difficult spot right now. They lose to the Knicks 91-90. And for the second consecutive time in this series, and for the first time, I think, in the history of this playoff format in the NBA, a team has lost 2 consecutive games when leading by 20 points in both of those games. They were up 20-0. They're up 20 points in each of these. Not 20. So they were up 20 points in each of these games. 20 points in each of these games, and they end up losing to the Knicks. The Knicks came back, and despite being down by 20 last night, they come back and win in Boston 91-90. By the way, both these games were in Boston. So now they will return to New York. The Thunder, that final score 149-106, tying that series up at a game apiece. I mean, if you look at the box score, not that you have to go look at the box score, but if you wanted to look at that box score from last night between the Nuggets and the Thunder, wow. The plus minus is always an interesting statistic to look at. Every single starter and Russell Westbrook, were minus 25 or worse. Minus 25 or worse, led by, unfortunately, KU's own Christian Brown, who was minus 40. Had the worst night of anybody, according to the plus minus stat. But 149-106. The Nuggets win one at the buzzer over the Thunder a couple nights ago. The Thunder did not forget about it. They went out there and walloped the Nuggets in game 2. mean, they were at 45-21 at the end of the first quarter. It was pretty much over from that point on. I remember tuning in early in the second quarter, and I mean, it was a 30-point game. I was like, oh, not watching this. This thing's done. The Thunder were mad, and they took it out on Denver. Now Denver's going to have a tough time, but they're going to have to bounce back themselves. They're going to have to find a way to come back and take care of business at home if they're going to have a chance. So they're going to find a way to bounce back after taking a thumping on the road. Luckily, they're coming home to possibly get some home cooking there. But 149-106, boy, the Nuggets get absolutely beaten. Boy, how about also on one more quick thing before we get to a topic of the day? How about the performance last night of the Kansas City Royals as they continue to win games? Now, what is it? 14 of their last 16, the Royals have won. They win 2-1 last night over the White Sox. My goodness. Just unbelievable starting pitching. I mean, the White Sox didn't score a run until the top of the ninth off of Carlos Estevez. But last night, Michael Wacha goes 7 complete, gives up 3 hits while striking out 5 with the walk and no runs allowed. Just unbelievable. And it's not like as if the offense did a whole lot last night. Bobby Witt Jr., a 2-run blast in the bottom of the 5th, helped propel the Royals to this victory last night. But the Royals, the stat of the day for you, the stat of the day is this right here for the Royals and their starting pitching. Kansas City has won 14 of its last 16, and this is the stat, now leads the majors with 18 quality starts this season. They're starting pitching, and we knew this. We knew this going into the year. We knew this kind of at the end of last year. We knew this going into this year. We knew that the starting pitching is the strength of this team. It is the strength. It is that starting rotation, and it has flexed mightily here over the last during this winning streak and through most of the season. I mean, we were talking about when the Royals were on that skid, a few weeks ago. Well, they were on that skid. We're talking about, well, the offense is not scoring enough because pitching-wise, they're doing plenty to win these games, but the offense is not doing enough. Well, the pitching is almost taking it up another level to where they're only going to allow a run or 2 runs at most, and the Royals' offense is getting just enough to get it done. Like last night, 2 runs, not a lot, but you get it done. This Royals pitching staff is unbelievable. 18 quality starts, it leads the major leagues. That's unbelievable. Very, very interesting stat. But Bobby Witt Jr., the hero last night, along with Michael Wacha, Royals 22-16, a game and a half back of the Tigers, I believe. Are they still 2 games back? Because the Tigers won last night over the. No, sorry, they're still 2 games back of the Tigers because the Tigers got a extra inning win in Colorado last night, 8-6. Rockies got to be sick. Had a chance to win a game. Could not get it done. They end up losing 8-6 in extras last night. And once again, now the Rockies off to the second worst 35-game start in the modern era of Major League Baseball. So 6-29. Although Ryan McMahon, huge game last night, 4 hits, a 2-run homer. By the way, Rockies have a doubleheader today against the Tigers on KLOE starting at 1 AM 790 KHPLX. The Royals go for a sweep of the White Sox, who, by the way, have lost 9 of their last 10 against the Royals. 9 of the last 10 against the Royals. The White Sox have had no answers for Kansas City. No answers whatsoever. So there you go. Quick look back yesterday in sports. Okay, let's get to our first topic of the day here. And this was presented by listener Michael through the FNB Bank text line. 785-899-2222 is the number to be a part of the Morning Blitz. And Michael texted this in after the show yesterday. And he goes, I was thinking about this last night. With the NIL being out of control in the NCAA basketball, even in football, but just for basketball on this subject, how would you feel if, since these athletes are making millions of dollars and getting poached to other schools, what do you think about getting rid of the NCAA tournament and replacing it with a NBA-type best-of-7 or best-of-4 tournament for the top 16? They have best of 5. I don't think it'd be best of 4, but for the top 16 teams, and then having the other teams just go to the NIT tournament and make the NCAA a bunch more money there, since that's all the NCAA cares about. Okay, so there's a couple points in here I think are interesting. There's some points I'm like, I don't know about that. So first and foremost, everybody's about making money, Michael. First and foremost, everyone's about making money. Everyone is about making money in this deal. The players are about making money. The schools are about making money. The NCAA is all about making money. It's all been about making money. That's what drives it all. So you can't just put it all in the NCAA. It's all they care about, making money. No, the NCAA was all about making big time money because they were trying to help. They don't get me wrong. They were making billions, and they were multi-millions and billions of dollars they were making back in the days of when college athletics was how it was supposed to be. They were making all that money, but that money was also, of course, going to help fund. They were going back to universities for scholarships, things of that sort for student athletes. That was going back to them. Now, they weren't keeping it all. They were keeping a good portion of it, but they weren't keeping it all. But it doesn't matter. The thing that broke it was that athletes are like, well, you're making all this money and we're not receiving any of it. We should get some of it. That's how NIL started, and then pay for play, which now we are in at this point in time. So I do not agree with the fact that the NCAA, all they care about is money. I do not care about that at all. I just want to say that's the point. But here's the thing. So the fascinating question is pretty much, do you get rid of the NCAA tournament? Do you replace the NCAA basketball tournament with an NBA-style best of 7, like what we're seeing right now in the NBA playoffs, but only for the top 16 teams? And the reason why Michael thinks that is that you're seeing, and this kind of goes back, I'm assuming he means this. Michael, of course, chime in if you disagree with this thought. But you're seeing, of course, a lot of the players that were at the mid-majors, let's say the Akrons, the, UNC Wilmingtons, whatever else you want to throw in there, your St. Mary's, whatever they might be, they are leaving these programs that don't have the NIL or budgets. They don't have that budget to pay these players, and they go somewhere else, like maybe a UConn or a Kansas or a Texas Tech, whatever you else want to throw in there, and they're paying them more money. And so you're starting to see, the talent all get collected at certain schools. And so Michael's saying we're not going to, and I'm guessing he means a little bit of this. You look back at the tournament this year, there weren't a ton of upsets. I think it was more of just kind of a one-off deal or something. But at the same time, all the good players are, even the guys that were, maybe weren't great, went to mid-majors and became really good, now are going to big-time programs. But I think what he's trying to ask in this question is it better to get rid of the NCAA tournament and replace it with an NBA style? I will say this. I don't think so, just because I think there is still hope for March Madness. That's my opinion. I still think there is plenty of hope for March Madness at this point in time. Plenty of hope. Plenty of hope for it. I do believe, yes, I would agree. I do think that we are seeing a lot of really good players getting poached and going to other programs. And we're seeing, I don't want to say super teams be built. That's not the word I want to use, but a lot of the really good players are going to a good number of the schools that have the money to pay it out. And that's creating really good basketball teams for the most part. And that's going to be hard to overcome for the smaller teams. I just don't think you want to get rid of the NCAA tournament the way it is. I mean, I don't think they're looking at that, and they're not even looking at this in way, shape, or form. In fact, they're looking at expanding it so that they can bring in more teams and it's not just whittle it down to 16. That's not enough inventory. That's not enough inventory. 16 teams, yeah, I get it. Best of 7. That's not enough inventory. I mean, March Madness, they get all the viewership because people tune in because they want to see the underdog win. And even though we didn't see that a lot this year, it will happen at some point in time again. We will see it, I do believe. I think this is a fascinating question. I love when people think outside the box and have outside the box thoughts. This is certainly one of those, and I think it's an interesting one, especially with the NBA playoffs going on now. I mean, would it be cool to see, if you saw Kansas and let's just throw a school out there, the Kansas and UCLA, for example, play in a best of 7 series. Winner moves on to the second round, kind of like in the NBA. I don't know. I like the one and done thing. I like it where your backs are against the wall. You have to win this game or it don't matter. I think that's why people tune in and watch it. People tune in and watch to see it could be over if we don't win today. It could be over for this team if they don't win. They also tend to see there is a possibility that, this underdog team, all they got to do is it may be just 1 in 100 chances that they could beat this team. But if today is the day that it is that one, all of a sudden you're like, yes, that is awesome. I can't believe I got to watch, St. Peter's knock off Kentucky or whatever it was a few years ago. People tune in to watch that. No offense to the NBA. You're tuning in to see these series, and the basketball is good and it's fine, all that. But, you knew last night, even though the Thunder got absolutely walloped the Nuggets. If you're a Nuggets fan, you're like, well, that just wasn't our night tonight. We'll be back at it again here on the next day. If that was a college basketball game, it was over. It was over. If that was a first or second round game in the NCAA tournament between the Nuggets and the Thunder, it was over. The Thunder season was done. You'd have a whole different feeling. There is pressure. There is excitement to see these teams go out there and knowing that they either have to win or it's over or the season is done. There's excitement that draws people there. I don't know if they would draw the viewership numbers if they went to the type of thing like the NBA. I mean, the NBA, I saw the Warriors Rockets Game 7. It draw the most viewing eyes the NBA has seen in the playoffs. I think I saw this. Maybe it was the first round since 2009. I mean, folks, that's a long time ago. The NBA does not have great viewership numbers. People do not really like, as a whole, the nation is not humongous on watching the NBA. Look at the numbers. Let's look at the league, or look at all the numbers that go with it. The people are not into that stuff. It's not they don't like watching the regular season. The playoffs are better. Well, they're not hooked on it. It's not stuff. I admit I'm not super hooked on it. We all know that. I'm not a humongous NBA guy. But man, when the NCAA tournament's on, I'm watching that. I want to see that. To me, it almost means more. And by the way, he talked about if you had this format where you had the top 16 teams play a best of 7 or best of 5 series, and then you had the other teams go to like an NIT tournament, or the Crown is the new one that they're kind of doing. Look, that money there, the NIT, that's not going to the NCAA. That money's going to other places. I mean, like for example, in the Crown, that money is from Fox, and it's going to the schools that compete in it, not the NCAA. So the NCAA does not want to lose in any way, shape, or form the NCAA tournament. They do not want to lose that because it is the only big-time money maker they have left. It's the only thing they have left. College baseball, college softball, it makes a little bit of money, but the NCAA basketball tournament makes a ton of money. And that's why they're looking at, well, let's expand it. Let's make it bigger. Let's invite in more teams. I'm not for that, by the way. We don't need to see some of these teams make the tournament. We didn't need to see like a Nebraska that was on the bubble make the tournament this last year. They weren't good enough to be in it. So, they've expanded the tournament already. They're looking to expand the tournament again. I don't think they should. Where they have it is fine. If they want to trim down on some teams, maybe make it just back to 32 or 48 or 56, something like that. They want to trim that down. Yeah, like 48 or something. Trim that down. I'd be okay with that. Then you definitely get bored. But at the same time, it's fun to see the upsets. It's fun to see these little schools go and the underdogs beat the big dogs. That's why people tune in. That's why they want to do it. And that's why I just don't think you could get rid of the format that the NCAA tournament is right now and replace it with an NBA style format. I just don't think you could do that. Just don't think that it's a possibility. The viewer, if they did that in the hopes of making more money, first and foremost, it would be a failure in that department. They would lose money on that. And other teams would lose money. Other schools would lose viewership opportunities. To me, it would be a negative for a lot of things. It would only help the power schools more. It would only help the top 16 programs. Your Kansas, it would help them. It would only help the rich get richer, really. So, I don't know. But I think it's an interesting question. I love when we get questions from the listeners and get their thoughts on certain topics. So thank you, Michael, for this question. Once again, his question was about replacing the NCAA tournament with an NBA-type basketball tournament style with like a best of 7 or something like that instead of having just the single elimination tournament. I like the single elimination tournament. Once again, I think it brings in a whole bunch of viewers because they want to see the underdogs get it done. And, most of the time in the best of 7, the best of 7, it is the best team advancing. And when it's a one and done, there's those chances for those 1 in 50, 1 in 100 shots like the St. Peter's to knock off Kentucky. You get a chance of that. And that's what makes March Madness. That's what makes it special. And that's what draws the viewership and draws the eyes, which in turn brings in the money. You're not going to get that with what you're getting now. So there you go. Interesting question, though. I love it when I would love to do a mailbag, honestly. If anybody be interested in doing like a mailbag segment here on the Blitz, I would love it. Where you send your questions in and we can talk about them, debate them. I think it would be great. But thank you to Michael, the FB Bank text line, 785-899-2222 with that great text talking about the NCAA tournament and possibly replacing it and going with some NBA style format. But like I said, I think that would hurt more than it would possibly help. Okay. 7:31 Mountain, 8:31 Central Time here on a Thursday, May the 8th. Going to be sunny today, 69. We'll take a break. When we come back, we've got plenty more to get to coming up here in just a little bit. We will visit with Todd Kane. He is the head baseball coach for the Colby High School baseball team. That is next. Stick around. You're listening to a Thursday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Big savings are waiting at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get a 25 Chevy Silverado 1500 with 0.9% APR for 60 months plus $3,500 trade-in cash. Or choose a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max, 0.9% APR, or up to over $7,800 off if you own a GMC or Buick. And don't forget, military members get an extra $750 cash allowance. It's happening now at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Thursday, May 8th. On the overnights last night, July corn higher 2 1/4 at 4.51 1/2. September down 3/4 at 4.28 3/4. December down a cent at 4.39 3/4. March corn down 1 1/4 at 4.53 1/2. July soybeans up 7 on the overnights at 10.46 1/4. August up 6 1/4 at 10.41 3/4. September up 5 1/4 at 10.22 3/4. November beans up 5 1/4 on the overnights at 10.27 1/4. Chicago wheat, the July contract unchanged at 5.34 1/4. September up 1/4 at 5.49 1/4. December up 1/4 at 5.71 1/2. March down 1/4 at 5.90. Kansas City wheat, the July contract higher 3/4 cents at 5.30 1/4. September up 3/4 at 5.44 1/2. December up a half cent at 5.67 1/4. March hard wheat unchanged at 5.86 1/2. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up $215 at 41,429. The S&P up 41 at 5,693. The Nasdaq up 214 at 20,175. Gold lower $33 an ounce at 3,359. Crude oil up 83 cents a barrel at $58.90. If you have any questions about marketing grain and would like to talk about risk management options, give our caller Rod Wolf a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Pluto, Jared Law, Tyler Dosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
ensure you get the best care. Stop by Dan Brenner Ford today at 1520 Highway 27 in Goodland.
Dan Brenner Ford, the right car, right truck, right now.
From the headlines to the highlights.
It's good! The Wildcats are champions of the Big 12!
This is the Morning Blitz.
All right, still rolling here on a Thursday morning. Glad you're with us on the Morning Blitz. We will get to some college football news for you coming up in our third segment, but we're going to talk a little high school baseball here. Joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline, Todd Kane, head coach of the Colby High School baseball team, joining us now. Todd, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here. How are we doing today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Todd, I tell you, what is this, year number 2, or this is year 2 for you, right? Or year 3? I think it's 2.
Year 2 as a head coach, year 7 as a baseball coach overall.
Yeah, so year 2 as the head man. What kind of growth have you seen from the program in just your 2 years there? It was left, of course, in good shape by Rick Williams, former head coach there, but what's the growth that you've seen from the program in your 2 years there?
I mean, the players make it pretty easy. We got a tremendous amount of guys that are very invested in baseball. A lot of time, a lot of effort. Even the kids' programs right now through the storm are incredibly busy and have a tremendous amount of participation. Basically just the head of it, and they're the one doing the work, if that makes sense.
No, there's no doubt about it. How much of an impact do you, I'm not saying that you have an impact, but how much, you talk about the Storm being one of those, those leagues that the kids are playing now at the younger levels, that has a humongous impact, of course, on your program coming up through the years. How much of an impact do you try to have with that, or be a part of it or watch the kids? How much of an impact do you have on the little league kids that you see?
Now that I'm more familiar with it, I want to be present at a lot more. I don't believe in micromanaging how people work. So having them do anything, but as far as being a presence, a face they recognize, and someone that they see, that's something I want to do. This summer, we're going to have an opportunity about once a week for the high school players to work with younger players, not only just to get fundamentals down, but for them to see that those people are touchable, those are human. That's a goal that they can achieve and people they can be around.
Todd Kane is our guest, high school baseball coach for the Colby Eagles. The Eagles off to a very good 15-5 season to this point in time with a couple more games left to go. Talk about this season, Todd. I mean, has it gone about how you thought it would? Did you feel like you'd have a really good year this year when you were getting set to get things going back in March? Or has this season gone a little bit better than maybe you even thought?
I mean, it always is what it is, but for sure the ones we've dropped, I don't think we should have, but that's probably just me speaking as their coach. We're incredibly talented. I think whatever version of us shows up that day, if the best version of us shows up, we can't really be touched. That's why it's my job to keep them prepared, keep them ready to do the little things right. Sometimes I think we get a little ahead of ourselves, but when we show up and do what we're supposed to do and compete, I think we're pretty solid.
What do you think has been the biggest strength of this team?
We have a very deep pitching staff, and in high school baseball, that is a luxury that most don't get. We play really good defense. It's usually a matter of whether or not our bats come to the party or not.
You talk about that depth of pitching staff, and you do have a lot of different guys that you can throw out there. Why do you think the pitching has been a strength for this program? Does it come back to, once again, kind of the youth program and feeding those great pitchers, or why do you think you've had such a good amount of pitchers here, especially these last couple of years, your first 2 seasons?
I think a big component in it is more knowledge of arm care, because you'd have guys in the past that threw really good for a number of years, but by the time they got to be a sophomore, junior, senior, their arm was cooked. But we take a lot of time, do a lot of strategy as far as keeping our arms the way they're supposed to be. Throwing a ball overhead 75 to 100 times hard isn't something our body's naturally made to do. So we have to take the steps to make sure that it's able to do it again and again, week after week.
Once again, we are visiting with the head baseball coach for Colby High School, the 15-5 Eagles. That would be Todd Kane, who joins us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline here on this Thursday morning. Going back to the 1st of May, just a week ago, you guys got a sweep of Holcomb, and that was a really, really impressive win on the road down at Holcomb. How excited were the guys after that sweep and getting the big win over what was then, of course, the GWAC leaders?
They're pretty excited, and I mean, they were super excited for Braxton throwing that no-hitter. If he doesn't walk the leadoff batter of the game, that's a perfect game. Either way, huge accomplishment. But like I alluded to before, like when we show up and do what we're capable of, we're pretty tough. They did a really good job of staying relaxed, not letting the moment being bigger than what it is. I just keep telling them bad things are going to happen. You got to keep moving. Good things are going to happen. You got to keep moving. Got to stay focused but relaxed. If you let it get too tight, let the moment be bigger than it is, that's when things start to roll downhill. And in a sport like baseball, things can compound and pile up really, really quick.
You mentioned Braxton Withington and the no-hitter, that walked the first guy. That had, I mean, as exciting as it is, it also has to be kind of a little bit of a humorous. You're like, my goodness, the first guy gets walked, but you were clean from the rest of the way. That'd be pretty funny to talk about with him, and the guys probably had to jab him a lot about that, I would guess.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and to be fair, that leadoff hitter for Holcomb is in my opinion, one of the best players in the state. Like, I get what happened, but to buckle down and be lights out from there took a lot of grit, a lot of toughness, and to throw something like a no-hitter, shutout, perfect game, it also takes a lot of defense behind you. And I also believe it takes a lot of run support. I think if you don't get those 3 runs in the first inning, your pitcher's not as relaxed, not as loose, not able to do what he wants to do because there's more pressure. So I think there's a lot of things that go into throwing a no-hitter, shutout, perfect game, other than just the pitching.
No, absolutely. Todd Kane is our guest. You talked about the hitting. You said, it's kind of been a little bit hot and cold at times this year. Why do you think the hitting has been that way so far?
I mean, it's stuff we preach every day. We haven't seen a tremendous amount of velocity. And in some of the other arenas of baseball that these guys compete in, they do. That's when the discipline comes in to stay back, stay tall, not be overzealous for the pitch. If all that weight's on the front foot, you're either going to roll over or you're going to pop it up. And then you're frustrated, thinking, I know I should be hitting this guy. I know I should be hitting this guy. And then you want to get it even more. Sometimes the more you want it, the less you get. Got to stay back, stay composed, let the ball travel and hit it where it's pitched.
Todd, can you tell me about a couple of your big-time seniors, Braden Foss and Max Kirstenbrock? How much have they meant to the program, of course, and also this year? How much have they done leading this team, being a couple of the big seniors that are on this squad?
They're not just great baseball players. They're great people. They're good to have in the program. They're good to have in the community. All of our seniors will be dearly missed, not just as baseball players, but as people. But fortunately, if everything goes as planned, I'll have a few more weeks with him.
Kirstenbrock and his hitting ability. How good of a hitter is he? I know he's signed to go play baseball at the next level, but how good of a hitter, in your opinion, is he?
You cut out on me for a little bit there, so I'm not sure who we're talking about.
Max Kirstenbrock, Coach. Max Kirstenbrock.
I mean, he's the real deal. He's put the time in. He's done the work. He's extremely coachable, extremely humble. All the tools that you can't necessarily create as a coach. You have to have him be that as a person. He has all those tools that he needs.
We've talked about this with other Colby coaches before, but how advantageous is it to have that blue barn available for kids to go and get cuts in during the winter months if they choose to do so?
I mean, it's huge, and it's not just huge in the wintertime. Like, if there's a rainy day during the season, we can go in and see quote-unquote live pitches as opposed to be doing things in a gym with wiffle balls, tees. But I don't sleep on the tees. I think it's the most important piece of practicing hitting. But having access to a facility like that allows us to recreate being outside as close as possible.
Todd Kane, our guest, Colby High School baseball coach. A couple more for you, Coach. You got one more series coming up here tomorrow on the road at Sublette, and then the postseason. Looking for out of your guys to improve to be in the spot you want to be in when the postseason is here?
The biggest focus will not to lose the fundamentals, all the things we've worked hard to achieve, not kind of just sell it out on the last regular season game of the year. The goal every season is to get hot at the right time. We're hot right now. We just got to keep it that way. Keep the spirits up, keep the intensity regardless of opponent, and do what we're supposed to do.
What are your thoughts on being at home, getting to host the regional there, getting to be at home, and of course the teams that you could possibly face, the regional in itself? What are your thoughts on that overall?
I love that we get to host. We have a great facility between us, the city, and the college. We take incredible care of it. It takes a lot of hard work, but it's worth it to have the field that we have. It's also nice not to have to travel and play. Guys will be at home in front of their fans on the field they're accustomed to playing on. Just got to make the most of it.
He once again is the head coach of the Colby High School baseball team. That's Todd Kane. Todd, thank you so much for taking some time with us today. Really appreciate it. Best luck to you and your guys on the rest of the season.
You bet. I appreciate it.
Once again, that's Todd Kane, head coach of the Colby Eagle baseball team, 15-5 on the season. The Eagles really with some very nice wins. Thought about, of course, that sweep of Holcomb back on May the 1st. They were swept by Scott City. Probably the only real true blemish on the schedule, I would say, was that getting swept by Scott City. They easily could have probably split that and had a chance to win that game one, but got walked off on against the Beavers. And they were swept by Hayes TMP, which is a really, really good program this year. In fact, TMP, they only have 3 losses themselves on the season at this point in time. So got themselves a really good squad. I could see Colby finishing 17-5 with a sweep of Sublette here on Friday. And but we'll see when you look at the baseball standings. For those who don't follow, probably going to be, depending on how it all goes, Lakin's 13-3. They could drop down to 13-5. Colby probably going to be they could be the 1 seed. They hold the tiebreaker over Holcomb. Depends if does Holcomb have any more games left. Yeah, Holcomb's got 2 games against Lakin. So more than likely, Holcomb's going to be the 1 seed at 19-5. Colby will be 17-5. Lakin will be 13-5, more than likely. So Colby probably be the 2 seed there in their own home regional, which is like Coach Todd Kane said, very advantageous. All right, 7:48 here on a Thursday morning. We'll take a break. When we come back, we are going to shift gears and talk about some news in college athletics, particularly college football news. That is next, so stick around. You're listening to a Thursday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Well, last week, the season opener at the Thomas County Speedway in Colby brought out a good car count and a good crowd on a faster track this year, and they're back this Friday night, May 9th. The weekly IMCA classes run in the sports compacts, hobby stock, sport mods, stock cars, modifieds. Hey, thank you, race fans, and thank you, drivers. Thank you to the sponsors. It's racing this Friday night, second night of the year at the Thomas County Speedway, 8 p.m. Central Time.
Get up to $1,000 off your new device at NextTech Wireless. Already a customer and need to upgrade? You're eligible for up to $1,000 off too. Choose from the latest devices like the iPhone 16 or the Samsung Galaxy S25. And it doesn't stop there. Get a $100 Visa gift card for all new lines. Stop by a location near you today. NextTech Wireless, connecting Kansas.
Convenience just got an upgrade. Farmers State Bank of Oakley is excited to announce the opening of our brand new ATM along Highway 40, right next to Sonic Drive-In.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
first and foremost, some news in college sports, starting first and foremost with some college football news. First with Kansas State. News coming down the pipe that yesterday there was, I don't know if it was yesterday or 2 days ago that I saw this. It might have been 2 days ago I saw it. 2 days ago I saw that Kansas State lost their strength and conditioning coach. Lost their strength and conditioning coach, did Kansas State, as Truman Carroll left, and he is going to USC. And so yesterday it was announced that head coach Chris Kleiman is going to promote Ray Thomas to the director of strength and conditioning. So he had been with the strength and conditioning staff for the last 4 years, so he's just getting promoted up to be the director of it now. Kleiman said, quote, "We are pleased to elevate Ray to lead our strength and conditioning program. Our players and coaches have the utmost respect for him, and his style and leadership will fit in seamlessly with our program as we enter summer training months and into the season." Thomas, they said, was a driving force this offseason, helping Kansas State players collectively gain 700 pounds of muscle while maintaining top-end speed. His 33 players were clocked at over 21 miles per hour, 6 were over 22 miles per hour, and 4 hit 23 miles per hour. Those guys, VJ Payne, Dylan Edwards, Donovan McIntosh, and Avery Johnson, all over 23 miles per hour. But Ray Thomas looks forward to helping continue to lead these men. This is a bigger
First play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Yesterday, the Region 6 or Kansas Jayhawk Community College Conference released their all-league softball teams yesterday. There were 6 different Colby Community College Lady Trojans that were listed. Kinley Haskell, Paige Pierce, Tess Poled, Sophia Valenti, Giovanna Villalobos Carrillo, and I think it's Caitlin Zukwich were all named to the honorable mention team. There was not a first or second teamer from Colby on there. In fact, if you looked at the first and second team, it was made up of Butler, Hutch, and Garden mostly. Butler, Hutch, and Garden were the 3 teams that mostly made up the entire first and second teams for the Region 6. Pretty much like if you were Dodge City, if you were Fort Hays Tech Northwest, if you were anybody else, everyone else was honorable mention. But it was pretty much 3 teams that made the first and second team. Interesting. It's going to be a beautiful day today, and we've got a beautiful golf tournament going on over at Colby today. The Colby Golf Invite at Meadow Lake. Colby, Goodland, Hoxie, St. Francis, Rollins County, Oakley, all going to be there competing at Meadow Lake. So best luck to the area golfers. And that about does it for the program today. Really do appreciate everyone tuning in. Thanks again to Todd Kane for joining the program. For those who are watching on the video stream, I apologize. We had some technical difficulties. We'll try and get those ironed out for tomorrow's show. We will see you tomorrow on a Friday edition of the Morning Blitz. Have a good one.
KKCI, Goodland, Colby, Burlington.